My number two, like, I mean, we're kind of all over the place. You went for 39. I went for 40. Um, I guess I'm saying it because of the better result, but you want to talk about how you felt during a match. Um, I know they have 2 follow-up matches immediately the next month and then 2 months later, but WrestleMania 38, Seth Rollins versus the prodigal son returning, Cody Rhodes in his return
Really?
match to WWE. Yeah, that match was awesome. That match was awesome. It was a terribly kept secret that he was returning, but it was still one of those things. It was the first guy to turn on AEW, the first guy to return. The guy started the company. There was the letter that he was leaving, but even like that felt weird. You didn't know if like any of this was a work. Like until we heard that music, you never really know if it was actually going to happen. And that feeling, I thought when he came out, I'd argue. So I had another match from 38 on my honorable mentions. Cody coming out was bigger than Austin wrestling.
Really? For you? Really?
From that, like that show, like, yeah, again, you never thought that would happen. But the thing is, Austin comes out and he has that match with Kevin. Okay. So 3 years later, he hasn't had another match. We haven't even seen him since. Maybe he's had a beer or two here and there, but it's like you weren't thinking like, all right, cool, what's gonna come of this? Cody coming back and being a complete different person than he was when he left. And also it's like, all right, like, what does this mean? What's he gonna say about AEW? Like the future was the sky was the limit. Where with Austin, that was huge. That was nostalgic. That was great. But where were you going to go? There was nowhere to go after that.
Huh. I'm shocked that was that high. I do agree that match was really good. I just didn't think you would have it at number 2. I remember the moment, like even Seth smiling and things like that. Even the build for that, because I'm not sure if you remember the build, but Owens and Seth, they were trying to get WrestleMania matches. They were challenging for the tag title. They had that awesome match for the tag titles, but they lost. But the build was great, but I didn't think you would have that match. God, who was the tag champion? Was it the Street Profits? I think the Street Profits were tag team champions at that time. I'm almost positive.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but they were challenging. They did challenge for the tag title. I think it was a triple. If I can't recall, I think it was a triple threat match for the tag titles on an episode of Raw, and they ended up losing. All right, so my number 2.
And that buildup was fun. I know we may not, nobody wants to love VKM, but like he was a big part of that. Like Seth in Vince's office, like it was entertaining shit.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. I rewatched this match today. Amazing. Still a work of art. And around this time, we didn't get false finishes that much. So like I mean, especially during that era, because I tell people all the time, like post 05, you missed nothing. Maybe except for like a handful of things, you missed nothing until the Punk promo. Like, and anything you did miss was probably like Michael's stuff for the most part. But I said the false finishes of that match, like kicking out of a tombstone, was unheard of in 2000 at that point in time. Like Michael was trying to win by any means, like even trying to win by countout, he would accept it as a victory. He didn't care. He wrestled a damn near perfect match. Just made one mistake with the moonsault that led into the tombstone pile driver. But fantastic match. Can't say enough about it. My number 2 is Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25.
I know how revered that match is, and I've probably only seen it honestly twice, but it is from that era that I wasn't watching. So as I mentioned, that stuff, none of that was going to get ranked very high on this list for me. My number 1, so your number 4. My number 1 is the greatest match in WrestleMania history. It is the definition of when we were kids. If somebody wasn't a wrestling fan, what do you show them? I either showed them the King of the Ring Hell in the Cell match, or I showed them one of the 3 ladder matches with these teams. The triangle ladder match from 2000 was awesome, but when you add the spectacle of the greatest WrestleMania, arguably of all time, if not his top 3, you add in Lita, so you get the sex appeal. You add in Spike Dudley, the other brother from Dudleyville. You get Rhino.
His sex appeal, yes.
And Rhino's sex appeal. So, the wrong team won. But and that was, me just being a Hardys fan. I wish the Hardys would have won that match. But yeah, that match, that's the greatest match in WrestleMania history.
All right. I am appalled. I'll just do this.
Again, I freeze.
What? Why
is there gonna
the number one
be some glaring omission? What is the glaring omission? I forgot.
This is bright as this light behind me missing. The number one match in WrestleMania history is Stone Cold versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13.
Oh my God, especially this year.
You need some new wings. That match is awesome. Work of art. To think that we almost didn't get it, it took Sean to lose his smile because this would be
April Fools.
April Fools.
April Fools. My 10 was my honorable mention. My 9 was my 10. My 8 was my 7. It's
that match, fantastic. It really is. It's a work.
All wrestling fans should be rewatching that match and
going into the Hall of Fame as a match.
Let's talk about that. What do you think about this new segment?
I love that. I love a match getting recognized and getting its flowers that it deserves. I really do.
Yeah.
And in the perfect one went in first. People will say like Michaels and Taker from 25 might be the best WrestleMania match of all time. We'll see what WWE thinks. Clearly, they might have spoiled themselves for their own personal list, but because of inducting Austin and Bret into the Hall of Fame, so they might have spoiled themselves. But I'm all for that. I really am. I think matches should get their flowers. Matches need to be in high regard in the Hall of Fame. But that match, fantastic. Double turn. Austin becomes the biggest star in the business after that. Bret becomes better because I'm not a big face Bret guy. I'm a heel Bret guy. Bret was awesome in 1997. 1997 is a very good year of wrestling. If anybody ever wants to go back in time, it's definitely in my top 5 years. But they said you get that iconic shot, you get the blood from a stone shirt out of it as well. But Bret versus Austin, number one match in WrestleMania history, in my opinion.